Hello, my dear students. This video is all about speaking. It's time to stop worrying and find out how to get a good score you need. Let's dive into the outline of speaking. Speaking tests last for almost 11 to 14 minutes and it is made up of three parts. In part 1, you will be asked questions about yourself and your life. It will be easy to answer as it's just a list of warm up questions. Part 2. Here the examiner will give you a cue card with a topic written on it along with 3 to 4 bullet points directing you what to speak. You'll just have 1 minute to prepare and 2 minutes to speak, followed by follow up questions. Part 3. Here, this is the last part wherein the questions will be more abstract in nature. Part 1 is all about introduction and interview. The examiner will introduce himself or herself and confirm your identity by checking your passport details and would make you sign the declaration copy. Then the examiner will ask you some questions. You may have around 12 questions in part 1. It can be anything they can ask you. Maybe it is work, studies, hometown, sports, music, weather, television, anything. Now, what are they testing you in part 1? They are testing two things. One is your vocabulary, and the other thing is your grammar. Now, how do you answer this part 1 questions? First of all, you need to be a good listener, and you need to give a two-part answer. What do I mean by that? A direct answer and giving some additional information. Let me help you out with an example. Suppose an examiner asks you, like, where is your house located? So your answer, just a direct answer would be currently I live at Sarojini Nagar in New Delhi. But this is not enough. You need to add more details. So how can you add that? You can say currently I live at Sarojini Nagar in New Delhi. My area is famous for its market round the year, especially for tourists. And my house is located along a small alley away from the main road. So fortunately we don't get disturbed by the traffic noise. So remember, my dear students, don't give very short answers, don't give very long answers, don't memorize and overthink answers, and don't freeze if you get unusual questions. You need to speak something. Now, how long should my part 1 answer be? So, recommended answer length I would say is 15 to 25 seconds. Now, don't go to measure those 15 to 25 seconds. Two sentences is more than enough. Now, when you don't know what to say, like you need time to think because you are in front of examiner, right, and your voice is getting recorded. So say suddenly she asked you a question and you became like blank. Don't worry, say something but don't keep pause, because if you keep pause then that's counted as a negative marking. So just say, oh, that's a tough one. By the time you will think, oh, other, or else you may say that's a challenging question. So it depends on what type of question they're asking you. Okay, I have never thought about that. So suppose they ask you, like, tell me about space exploration. What do you think about space exploration? So don't say that's a challenging question. You can't say that. You have to say, oh, I've never thought about it. Let me think. And by the time you will get some or the other answer, you can just frame it. If you don't get, you can say, oh, I'm not much into science and I really have no idea about space exploration. That's fine. But if you try to make up something and you say, then there you should be ready with the next question. So be careful what you're answering. Okay, you can also say that sounds interesting, or I have no idea what to say, to be honest. Okay, now expressing opinions. So there are different ways to express your opinions. You can say, I think, I guess, I suppose, I would say, I reckon, I believe that, I tend to think that, in my view, in my opinion. If you're convinced with some idea, you can say, I'm convinced with that. I'm sure that. Oh, let me think. That's a good question. It's difficult to say. That's a tricky one. To be honest, I have never thought about that. Okay. Now, simple and advanced use of words. Food. So the best way to say is cuisine. Big, enormous, tasty, delicious. I like is simple, right? You can go for the other high. I am fond of, I'm keen on, I'm into. Good, excellent, amazing, incredible, bad, terrible, happy, ecstatic, sad, depressed, miserable, important, crucial, essential. You can also say prominent, nice, enjoyable, pretty, attractive, gorgeous, little, tiny, minuscule, hard, challenging, it's easy, it's no brainer like ABC, funny, hilarious, clean, spotless, hot, boiling, cold, freezing, tired, exhausted, old. You can also say for tired, weary. Okay, weary, weary, old, ancient. Now, coming to what's the weather like where you live? So, there are, if it's very hot, you can say it's scorching hot, sweltering hot, boiling hot, baking. If it's related to cold, you can say it's cold, it's quite chilly, it's freezing cold, humid, soaking wet, bleak, gloomy, dull, that's for not very bright, and changeable, unstable climate. Now, what is the weather like in your country? So, our weather is very unpredictable. One minute it can be lovely sunshine, the next we are experiencing a downpour. So, this is the situation that is usually found in UK. Okay, do you like the, but this is now common in our country also. Now, do you like the weather in your country? Yes and no. I get frustrated that we have so many rainy days, but we do not have some glorious weather as well. When the sun comes out and there's not a cloud in the sky, I couldn't be happier. Is the weather the same in all parts of your country? There are some quite marked regional differences. I live in the southwest where it's mild, but we get high precipitation. It's drier in the east, and they actually had a drought this summer. Further north, it's very cold in winter and they get heavy snow. Are there any problems with the climate in your country? We certainly seem to have experienced more violent storms and torrential rain in recent years. This has caused serious flooding in some places. A village near where I live had a flash flood this summer, which washed away cars and few buildings. People say global warming is to blame. Does the weather ever affect the way you feel? Most definitely. I feel so much more cheerful and full of energy when it is sunny, whatever season it is. Even a break in the weather or on an overcast day lifts my spirit. So, you might have seen different words over here which I've underlined. So, let's know what it is. So, for a snowy weather, there are different ways you can snowflakes, snowing, fresh snow, heavy snow, blanket of snow, snowstorm, blizzard, whiteout, flurry, avalanche, snowdrift, sleet, slush. So, I've given the meanings of all this. You try to use it in your practical world. Cold weather, below freezing, icy, freezing cold, bitterly cold, hail, frost, hard frost, jack frost, frostbite, cold spell, cold snap, chilly. If it's related to rainy weather, heavy rain, torrential rain, driving rain, pouring downpour, outburst, raining cats and dogs, to get drenched, soaked, drizzle, gentle rain, shower of rain, a flash flood, horrid weather, foul weather. Now, there are different ways to say that I'm tired. You can say, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I am beat, I'm drained, I am pooped, I'm wiped out, I am worn out, I am fried, and you can also try, I am dog tired. I am dog tired, okay? And why now IELTS speaking part 1 is important? It's like, good first impression. In part 1, the examiner may ask you different things. Say, for example, they may ask you, do you like music or do you like art? Do you like social media? Do you like coffee? So, your answer may be in yes or no. So, instead of saying, okay, yes, I like music, no, there is other way you can say, yes, I can't get enough of it. Definitely yes. My answer would be yes. I truly love music or I am passionate about music. You know, if the question is about plural things such as cakes, you need to change the it for them. Like, do you like cakes? Right? Yes, I can't get enough of them. Do you like books? Yes, I can't get enough of them. Okay? Now, If they're asking you, say for example, do you like science? So I'm saying yes, I love that. It always allows me to understand the world around us. Last week I read an article about solar panels and how can we use them. So always elaborate your question. So certain times they'll ask you like related to ability or activities. So are you good at cooking? Are you good at swimming? Are you good at playing sports? So you can say, yes, I have a knack, good knack. I do try my hands on cooking. I love it. Or yes, I have a knack for it. And if it's a negative answer, oh no, I'm hopeless at it. Oh, it's not my cup of tea. Or it's not, it's not my work. And activities you do and how often you do them. Like, do you play football? How often do you sing? Do you often go to parks? So it's your way, like you can say in a different angle, yes, from time to time, yes, every once in a while. Or if it's a usually, yes, I play football at the weekends more often than not. And if it's no, never, no, I'm not in the least bit interested in that. Now, more expressions to say that you are skilled at something. Say, I am skilled at cooking or I am adept at. So, to have a natural ability to do something, I am adept at doing so and so. I am a dab hand at so and so. Like you are good at something. I am highly skilled at so and so activity. I need to hone my cooking skills. That means hone means what? You need to improve your cooking skills. Oh, I need to master the skill of cooking, or I need to master the skill of baking. Asking opinion about something. Do you prefer hot weather or cold weather? Or what's your favorite kind of weather? So, if you start your answer with a connector or a signpost, it can make your answer more coherent and easier for the examiner to follow. Say, for example, do you prefer hot weather or cold weather? Without a doubt, I prefer cold weather because in the hot weather, if it's sunny, my skin burns so easily. Or other way, in all seriousness, I prefer cold weather because in the hot weather, if it's sunny, my skin burns so easily. The other way, to be totally upfront means to be no to be totally upfront, totally clear about what I'm saying. I prefer cold weather because in the hot weather, if it's sunny, my skin burns so easily. Now, you will also come across would you type of question in part one. So, like, would you like to be famous or would you like to give a pen as a present to someone? So, yes, I wouldn't think twice about it. Or you can say yes without any doubt, without any second thought. Oh, this means yes for sure. I would not hesitate and I do not need to think about it. If it's a negative, no, not for the love of money. Okay, this means no, not at all. Even if you gave me a lot of money, I would not do it. Now, there are different ways to say that the dish is delicious. You'll come across these type of questions. So you can use these words tasty, luscious, mouth-watering, tempting, appetizing, scrummy, succulent. That succulent you can usually use for meat. And or this dish is spot on perfect. Okay? Don't use yummy because these are the words normally children use. Healthy eating. So you can give a different way. If you want to say that you eat healthy, you can say to go on a diet. Have you ever been on a diet? I have been on a low carbohydrate diet for a few months. I follow the keto diet or I follow the Mediterranean diet or I strive to eat everything in moderation. Strive is trying hard. I think I eat a balanced diet. I am a vegetarian or I have been a vegan for years now. Or I can say a fruitarian, that is one who eats only fruits. Okay, a flexitarian, mostly vegetarian, but may eat some meat. Okay, so you're flexible. Foods you like. So if they're asking you something related to foods you like, you can just saying that I like or I love, you can say I love so and so or I adore so and so. I am rather partial to so and so. I'm fond of prawns. I tend to eat chicken or I tend to eat so and so. I tend to avoid pork. I veer away from so and so. I like Chinese cuisine. I love Indian dishes. I like Italian food, or my favorite dish is so and so. My child is a fuzzy eater or a picky eater. This means they only eat the food they like and won't try new foods. This is normally cases in children of today's generation. Now, you will also come across these type of questions. Do you love to cook, or do you know to cook, or whatever? Oh, I am fond of cooking. I love to cook, and my signature dish is chicken chili. I dabble in cooking every now and again. I like to rustle something up in the kitchen. I like to whip something up in the kitchen. Or I usually follow recipes. Okay, these all mean to improvise without a plan. I love to improvise when it comes to cooking. I prefer to play it by ear. When cooking, I like to wing it. I often make it up as I go along. Now, describing your favorite clothes. So, here are some useful words and collocations you can use to describe your favorite clothes and different types of clothes you may wear. Simple, I like to wear simple dress. I like to wear casual dress. I am always presentable. Scruffy, willy-nilly, stylish yet comfy, elegant, chic, dressy, fashionable, a conservative style, classic clothes, vintage clothes. So even you can say my phone is a vintage phone, vintage model, and it's an old model. Semi-formal dresses, clothes, dressed up to the nines. That is really smart looking. Dressed to kill. That is usually said for a woman if she is really dressed beautifully. I'm going to dress to impress. Or dark color dress, bright color dress, baggy. So the person looks baggy, okay, tight, clingy. Now, idioms. We also need to use idioms, at least one in part two. So, like father, like son. So, the son is like father, the son resembles his father. Or I followed in my dad's footsteps. Okay, so whatever dad is doing, maybe dad had taken up some business and now the son is trying to do it. So he'll say, I follow my dad's footsteps. Blood is thicker than water. So this you can use it till when they ask you, like, do you, who is important to you, family or friends? Then you can say, blood is thicker than water. Okay, she is the breadwinner. She is the breadwinner means what? That she is the one who is earning the money. She brings home the bacon means she earns the money and brings it home. A black sheep of the family is the notorious or naughty one in the family. Get on like a house on fire. That means get on extremely well with someone. Keep, get, be, stay in touch with someone. You can use either of it. Contact with someone. Okay, then have a soft spot for someone. That means to be having affection for someone. Be at loggerheads means disagree strongly with someone. Don't use it for writing. Okay, rub someone up the wrong way. That means irritating someone. Keep yourself to yourself means prefer to be on your own. Now, synonyms that you can use for common feelings. I feel happy today. So you can use your way like you can say I am content, or I am pleased, I'm ecstatic, or I'm elated. I am happy about that. I'm glad, pleased, I'm delighted, I'm thrilled. If you're feeling angry, I'm cross. I am irritated. I am vexed. If you're sad, you can say, I feel down in the dumps, or I am down, or I am low, I feel blue, I feel despondent. Other words of saying confused, oh, I'm baffled, I'm perplexed, I'm flabbergasted, I am puzzled, I am bewildered, or I can say, I am between the fence. That is an idiom. Okay, so practice these by finishing the following phrases. I feel vexed when, I feel vexed whenever, or I feel thrilled when so and so. I feel down in the dumps when so and so. I feel excited when so and so. Okay, now for a friend, we can also say a pal, a buddy, or mate. An acquaintance is someone you know but not really close enough to be a friend. You can also use collocations like he is my best friend, he is my bosom friend, he is my close friend, he is my long standing friend. Or I like to make friends. You're not going to win any friends saying things like that. To win a friend is more about making a strategic friend, getting to know someone who can help you in life. I have a close circle of friends. If you want to say when and how you met, these phrases can be really useful. We go back a long way, or we go back a long time. We have known each other for ages. We first bumped into each other at college or at workplace or on a holiday. Okay. Now, following all means to have a very good relationship. We get on like a house on fire. We just click. We are on the same wavelength. We get on famously. We speak the same language, or I know him, her, back to front, inside out, like the back of my hand. It's good to have friends in high places. That is usually we say for influential friends. She is a fair weather friend. The first sign of trouble and she disappears. He always has my back. That means always supports me. She is a shoulder to cry on, with whom you can share your sorrows, you can tell your worries to. She reads me like a book. That means that person knows what I am thinking. We are so different. We are like chalk and cheese. Okay, so if it's something that you want to show off that you are different, you and your sister sibling, you're different, you can say we are like chalk and cheese. Types of accommodation: a detached house, a townhouse, a duplex house, a semi detached house. Usually, this is two houses together. A terraced house, that is one house connected to many others in the same row street. A bungalow, a house with only one level. A squat, empty building where people start living without the owner's permission. Okay, a hovel, very small, dirty house or flat in a bad or rundown condition. Rented accommodation, we can also say furnished rented accommodation. Okay, it can be unfurnished. Council or social housing is rented accommodation provided by the state for the people who cannot afford to buy their own homes. Okay, a council estate, that is usually in UK, it's a large group of housing. Now, flats, flat or apartment, a living area within a bigger building. You can say it's a two-bedroom flat or it's a three-bedroom flat. Okay, so flat and apartment are really the same. You can use either of it. A block of flats, that means a building that contains many flats. Okay, like A, B, C, D, no? An apartment block, a building that contains many apartments. A condominium, a building that contains many apartments, same thing. Then a penthouse, a luxury flat at the top of a building. Or a high rise building, tower block flats are flats in a tall modern building with a lot of floors. You can also say vertical flats. Okay, granny flat, it's an informal, it's like a set of rooms for elderly person connected to a relative's house. Okay, and students usually stay in a rented house. Student accommodation, student digs a studio or a bedsit, that is a self-contained unit. Everything is there in one room itself, like Mumbai house. Okay, useful collocations that you can use: a run of the mill house, that means an ordinary house. A cozy, noisy, cramped flat. Cozy means small and comfortable, cramped means too small and uncomfortable. Okay, it's a three-story building where I live. I live on the third floor. It's a spacious, comfy flat. Spacious, plenty of rooms. Comfy is comfortable. Ensuite bathroom. That means attached to the bedroom. The master bedroom. It's the biggest one usually for the parents. A king-sized bed. That's the biggest size. Colorful bedroom. An elegant bathroom. A bedroom full of contrasting colors, different colors. Fluffy cushions on the sofa and pillows on the bed, a hand woven carpet, fully furnished house, a well lit living room, a flat screen television, a state of the art TV, artificial plants, a wooden table, open plan kitchen, spacious living room with a modern look. Okay, to relax, we can say to take things easy, to let my head down, to put my feet up, let me recharge my batteries. I'm just chilling out, to get away from it all. It's like, escaping work and stress is just what the doctor ordered: to travel light, to get off the beaten path, to enjoy a sight or place, we can say, to take in few sights, that is, if you are saying about tourist attraction, to soak up the view, to get up bright and early. You have taken everything but the kitchen sink. You have taken too many things on holiday. Okay. Now let's move to part two. The examiner's instructions in before she starts with that, you will have, like, she'll say, now I'm going to give you a topic and I would like you to talk about this topic for 1 or 2 minutes. Before you speak, you will have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make notes on this piece of paper if you wish. Do you understand? Here is your topic. I would like you to describe. So the examiner will give you following things. She'll give you a cue card wherein your topic would be written, a pencil and a piece of paper, and you will just have 1 minute to make some notes on it. Say, for example, this is your question. Describe the most interesting city you have visited. You'll have 3 bullet points or maybe four: where the city is, when you visited the city, what you did there, and explain why you found it so interesting. So they'll give you 1 minute time to think. Now, it's important to use your 1 minute wisely. Okay, make sure that you read your topic well and understand it. Now, what are you going to do in this 1 minute? Jot down some points, okay? Then make some notes for each of the prompts on the cue card and add some final points for the explanation. But make sure that you don't write long sentences. Just be in short. So I have written, describe the most interesting city you have visited. Chiang Mai, northern Thailand. Where the city is 700 kilometer north from Bangkok. Okay. When you visited the city? 3 times. November 2016. Loy Krathong. What did you do there? Old city, art galleries, creative relaxed food and market, ancient, modern, everything. I have just written in short. Now, let's see how are we going to answer this. After you make some short notes, the examiner will then let you know that it's time to begin your long turn by saying something like this. All right, now remember you have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about this topic, and don't worry if I stop you. I will tell you when the time is up. Could you start speaking now, please? So that's the time when you have to start. So I've just made one sample for you to understand. You can see the one that is written in bold is my short points. Okay. I love exploring different places. So I need to give a starter. So the question is, describe the most interesting city you have visited. So before I come to the point, let me say something. Let me give a starter, and then it is better to come to the topic. So I love exploring different places, relishing various cuisines, and knowing the culture. Okay, now I'm yet to come to the topic. What is the topic? Describe the most interesting city you have visited. So now I'm going to answer that. The most interesting city I have visited so far is Chiang Mai in northern Thailand. It is situated relatively 700 kilometers north of Bangkok. I have been there almost 3 times, I suppose. Last November 2016, I had been there with my parents. I still remember it was the Loy Krathong festival, which is quite popular over there during those months. What I learned there was that on this day, handcrafted flowers are arranged on the banana trunk and left floating either on river or on waterways. Well, some top sites to see in Chiang Mai Old City is its historic sites, museums, and art galleries. No wonder why this place is perfect for the whole family. And mark my word, it will take you through the quiet back streets at a leisurely pace and is designated as the creative city. I would say it's a perfect gateway to get relaxed and escape from the hustle and bustle of life. Not to forget, you can enjoy great food and go shopping the street markets where the sellers showcase their handcrafts and art. The striking mountainous landscape around the city provides a lot of wonderful attractions. Works of ancient artists are still displayed in modern galleries and coffee shops. I wish I could go back there once again with my family. So, after 2 minutes of speaking, the examiner will say thank you. When you hear this, you can stop immediately. Now, in part two of your speaking test, it's always good to tell at least one story. Now, why are these stories great? It's for two reasons. It helps you explain the event and it helps you to portray your tenses. How is your story structured? It has a beginning, it has a middle, and an end. Beginning means, what do I mean by that? An introduction to the subject of your story. Middle is the main event, what happened, and ending is a conclusion to neatly round off your story. You can also prepare for some word groups like this: a bustling, crowded place, a peaceful, quiet place. See, it means the same thing. Bustling, crowded means the same. Peaceful, quiet means the same. An old architecture place, a welcoming, friendly place, a green, natural place, a prosperous, thriving place, a tranquil, quiet town, if you're describing about your town, a peaceful, pleasant city, if you're describing about your city where you're living in, a cheerful, law abiding people, a nice, quiet spot. Here are some key points you need to know. See, it's not a test of your knowledge or your intelligence. You are not expected to be an expert on the subject they ask you about. You won't be assessed on the content of what you say. The examiner doesn't care what you do or do not know. They just want to hear your opinions and how well you communicate with them. That's it. Now, you might have noticed I use these words. I love exploring different places, blah, blah, blah. The most interesting city. I still remember what I learned there was, well, some top sights to see. No wonder why this place, not to forget, the striking thing, I wish. So, these all phrases helps you flow smoothly and gives a sense to your story and sound natural. Okay, after you have completed the 2 minute speaking topic, the examiner may ask one or two follow up questions that are related to the topic you spoke about during those 2 minutes. Now, there are different ways to plan your strategies. 1 minute doesn't sound long, but it's long enough if you have a plan. Method one is using question prompts. So you have the bullet points, what you do, where you do it, and who you do it with. So you don't have to use all the bullet points. You can talk about other things as well, but see to it that it is related to it. You can ask some extra questions: what, where, who, why. It's already there. You can ask some extra: when and how. Now, if I'm trying to elaborate this, now what, where, who, why, when, how. So I'm just trying to elaborate. What? Circuit training. Different exercise. Where is each week? Sometimes do spin. Where? TM Fitness Factory. Owned by so and so. Who? When? How? Why? So put then, after you have done this, put them in a logical order and speak. Okay, the second method is brainstorming method. Read the topic sentence, bullet points, and just jot out the points. Okay, you have then you can just spend about 30 seconds jotting down the first thing that comes into your mind. It just single word or phrases are enough. Okay, and when the time comes for you to speak, you just expand it and speak well. The third method is mind mapping. Mind mapping is nothing but imagining story in front of you as if you are in that scene. Brain has the capacity to think faster than pens. There are some students who are not comfortable to write those bullet points in that paper. They are much more comfortable just imagining that story and speaking out. So it depends on each student. Okay, so mind mapping, it's an easy way to organize your ideas and connect your topic one to one, and that's how it works. So it's up to you which one you want, whether you want to go for mind mapping or brainstorming, or you want to go the prompt question. Now, what happens in part 3 and how to answer? Now, part 3 is like a discussion. It goes around 4 to 5 minutes and time is controlled by the examiner. Remember that. Questions are connected to your part 2 topic. Think of part 3 as a discussion with the examiner where you offer your opinion. Include examples if possible, but keep in mind that you stay on topic. If you did not understand the question, you can ask the examiner to rephrase the question in a simpler way. Okay? By saying, I'm sorry, I didn't catch. I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch it. Or I'm sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Can you say that again, please? Can you repeat the question, please? Sorry, could you repeat that question, please? Okay. Now, what happens in part 3 and how do you answer? Now, remember one thing, that you need to give an opinion, an explanation, some example if you have, and concession. Like, let me give you a sample of it. Now, if they're asking you, are people spending too much time on the internet? So, yes, I think people are definitely dedicating too much time too much of their time on the internet. That sounds like my opinion. Oh, people are becoming far too reliant on the internet and mobile devices so as to guide them in choosing places to shop, eat, and to assist in communicating with their friends. So it's like a further explanation. The other way I could say, if I am saying like, are people spending too much time on the internet? Now, here, if you see in this example, it says in many countries it has become a concern that modern technology and the internet can be addictive and is contributing the worldwide obesity epidemic. However, I can see how using the internet also does have its advantages in our fast paced modern world. But the most important thing here is to give opinion. Okay, we need to say yes or no. Now, how do you practice for part 3 of the speaking test? Use sample IELTS questions and practice with the speaking partner acting as the examiner. Record your answers and listen back to them. Look at a question and then make a list of useful vocabulary. Have a debate with your friend. Discuss newspaper articles. Give your opinion. Offer solutions to social problems. Now, things you should note for part 3 of the speaking test. Try to relax and speak as if you are discussing the topic with a friend. Be confident and be sure to speak clearly. Part 3 questions are generally yes or no questions. You will not have to give information about yourself in part 3. It's all about opinion based questions. Now, how do you improve your part 3 score? Now, let's look at an example. Is looking after the environment important in your country? So, first sentence is your opinion. Oh, I think protecting our natural resources has certainly become more of a focus for our nation within the last decades. Second sentence. Oh, it's easy to see that people are beginning to get a great understanding of the importance of caring for the environment so we can preserve it for future generations. Third sentence. I'm giving an example that supports my opinion. In more recent years, large areas of land have been classified as national park to help with the preservation of wildlife. And there has also been an increase in green spaces and parkland within my city, and I am definitely in favor of these initiatives. Then, last ending concession. I do understand that as society develops, more demand is placed on the land we have available, but we need to find ways to progress as a society that does not damage the environment too much. So, remember while answering, if you cannot think of examples or do not know what the other side of the argument is, then just make sure to answer the question and offer your opinion along with further explanation to support your opinion. Now, there are top 9 IELTS speaking tips that I would like to say. Commit to speaking English every day. Practice answering IELTS style questions. Grow your vocabulary, know the exam, understand what you will be tested on, know your strength and weaknesses. Practice identifying grammatical structures. Focus on fluency, work on your pronunciation. And the best thing I would suggest is stand in front of mirror, record your answer, and then be as an examiner and correct yourself. Okay, now the 4 skills that you will be assessed on. What is being tested during part 2? It looks closely at your skill and ability in narrating and telling a story. The most important skills that are looked at when you are narrating a story are fluency. Are you able to keep talking continuously and at a natural speed? Second is the coherence. Is it logically arranged and connected so far as to form a whole? Vocabulary. You need to demonstrate the ability to correct, use wide range of vocabulary. Grammar. Correctly, are you using the different tenses in the English language? Pronunciation. Is it clear and is it easy to understand? Here it means clear means what? The clarity of your speech, the sounds, the word stress, sentence stress, connected speech. Now let's go at the band descriptors. So you will have like fluency and coherence, lexical resource, grammatical range and accuracy, and pronunciation. Let's look into each. Now, fluency and coherence. So you will get a higher score if you speak fluently with only rare repetitions. You need to speak at length without hesitation or pause. Do not use self correction too much because it sounds that you are not confident. Fully develop the topics you are speaking about. Okay? Use language appropriately to link your ideas and sentences together. Now, fluency and coherence band 6. Why does a student get band 6 in fluency and coherence? It's about he willing to speak at length, occasionally loses coherence due to repetition. There are some self corrections and hesitations. Uses connectives but not always appropriately. Okay, but if a student is getting band 7, that means he is speaking at a length without noticeable effort. He may hesitate but self corrects or repeats themselves at times. Uses connectives with some flexibility. Okay, but if I'm saying uses connectives with flexibility, that becomes band 8. Okay, now let's see band 8 and 9. Speaks fluently with only occasional repetition or self correction. Topics are developed coherently and appropriately. To get a band 9, speak fluently with only rare repetition or self correction. Speaks coherently and topics are developed fully. Next comes lexical resource. Lexical resource deals with wide range of vocabulary, okay, idiomatic languages, paraphrasing effectively. Similar criteria for each of the bands. Let's see. Grammatical range and accuracy. So you will get a higher score if you use a range of different sentence structures and you're producing consistent, accurate, or error free sentences. So a student gets band 6 when uses a mix of simple and complex structure with limited flexibility, may make mistakes with complex structures, but it does not usually affect comprehension. Band 7 is when he uses a mix of simple and complex structures with some flexibility. Okay, that's the same thing. Frequently produces error free sentences, though some grammatical mistakes persist. Band 8 uses a wide range of structures flexibly, produces a majority of error free sentences. And Band 9 uses a full range of structures naturally, produces consistently accurate structures. Next comes the pronunciation. So you will get a higher score if you use a full range of pronunciation features. It's are easy to understand and accent has minimal effect on intelligibility. So similar criteria for each of the bands. Now, we can use a wide variety of tenses as seen in these sample phrases. If I'm saying I am living in a coastal city, it's a present continuous tense, ing. I am living. So when I am speaking, I'm saying I'm living in that place. Present perfect continuous tense. I have been living here for 2 years. That means still you are staying there. We live on the sixth floor. That is present simple sentence. Even if you are asking me tomorrow, I'm going to say we live on the sixth floor. I'm not going to say that we live on the seventh floor. It will be the same. We live on the sixth floor. That's present simple sentence. Then it's quite a cozy place, but it is a little bit cramped. Before we moved here, I was living in Malaysia. So I'm saying past continuous. Past. Before we moved here, I was living in Malaysia. Okay. We lived in a condominium. Simple past tense. ED. Okay. It was a 27-story building. It was much bigger than where we are now. There was far more room. It was just way more spacious. It had a lot more modern comforts that what we have now. So we can use the following kind of language to show our knowledge of comparison. So I hope you like my video and I hope to hear from you.